What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Mean Streets here at FTN. Chris Meaney and PropGod with you, _PropGod at Chris Meaney on the X machine. We're here to preview the San Diego Padres from a fantasy baseball and MLB betting perspective. If you're looking for a fantasy baseball draft kit, we have you covered over at ftnfantasy.com. Promo code Seeger5, led by our very own Vlad Sedler. Rankings, projections, all kinds of tools, highlighting the differences in terms of ADP over at NFBC and Vlad's rankings and projections so you can get the best edges possible in your drafts. Also, I mean, there's closer reports, there's strategy pieces, there's rookie prospect articles, there's guys that are pumping out spring training news on the regular as well. I won't be with you throughout the entire season from a fantasy baseball perspective with articles and whatnot, 2-star pitchers, waiver wire pickup, and PropGod myself will be with you throughout the entire MLB season, giving some MLB picks and props. So let's start here as we talk about the Padres, and we'll just look at them from a betting perspective first. The win total 81.5 seems kind of low. They won 82 games last year. Of course, they did lose Soto. We'll talk about their lineup in just a touch, but 14-1 to win the division, 28-1 to win the NL Pennant, World Series 60-1. PropGod's been with me throughout the entire division as we've been previewing Arizona and San Diego and San Fran. It all seems like those three teams, not the Dodgers, but those three teams are all clumped in together around 81, 83.5 wins, 14-1 to win the division. We're not talking about the Rockies, so
no way.
No disrespect, Colorado. It's going to be a long season for you guys. But overall, what do you make of that number? 81.5 seems low. Are you with me on that? That it kind of seems
low?
I
thought it was 83.5 like the others. The 81.5 and then no juice either on FanDuel. I'll take that. I mean, over. And 2 straight years, 89 wins in 2022. Last year, we struggled mightily and still won 82 games. So I think we definitely will win at least 80. I don't believe we'll be under 500. So I think we'll win 82 at least.
Also plus 220 over a BetMGM to make the playoffs if you believe. And this is why the prop shop is just so cool. Link inside the description of this video. FanDuel is offering 16-1 to win the NL West, and Bet365 10-1. So there's a big time difference in a lot of these books. Like you can get 60-1 to win the World Series over at FanDuel, and they're 30-1 at Bet365 to win the World Series. And as I mentioned, plus 220 to make the playoffs. I don't think that they're a World Series contending squad, but man, they still have a lot of pieces on this team, right? Obviously, Fernando Tatis Jr., who's on this board here, picked 7.93 on average. Using some of the data over the last couple of weeks over at NFBC, high stakes leagues, people are putting their money on the line, drafting here early March. We're not going to see a lot of change in Tatis' number. I do believe he is the riskiest pick inside the first round just because of some injuries and some things that have crept up into his game. And it's just really missing time, suspension, injuries, and things like that. But my goodness, like it's high risk, high reward. And I'm on the side of like, it's worth it, to get him in your first round, pick 8, 25 homers in 141 games last season, 635 plate appearances, 42 and 130 in 2021, around 550 plate appearances. His over-under for home runs this season, I know Dream likes it, 34.5. We haven't projected for 34 right on the button there. A 257 average last year, but 280 for his career. I think he lives in the 270, so I think his average is going to improve this year. And again, most projections have him for 40, so Vlad's maybe being a little bit cautious when it comes to his projections overall at FTN Fantasy. But I think a 30-30 season is like the floor for him. And 35-35 is something that we certainly, maybe even pushes 40-40. Like, that's all possible. But let's be honest. Like, they are going to, Soto's bat away from the lineup and Manny Machado getting a little bit older. A little bit of a downtick in the offense, or are you still feeling like they're still going to be pretty elite?
So I think it'll still be a downtick because you don't lose. I think Soto hit 35 home runs last year, maybe 36. Yeah. So he's still gonna be missed in the lineup. And then he always was getting on base too, because we know Soto is going to get his walks in. I'm more so concerned with the losses in the pitching staff. We lost Blake Snell. Well, he's a free agent. We don't have the money to pay him. We lost Josh Hader as well. We lost Seth Lugo. We lost Michael Wacha. I do like the haul that we got. As far as I'm just speaking on the team in general right now. I do like the haul that we got for Soto, add Michael King, Johnny Brito, Randy Vasquez. We went and picked up Go Suk, then Yuki Matsui. So I think the bullpen we'll be better. We get Suarez back, he was injured last season. We kind of waited on him all year, and then when he came back, he wasn't as good as the year before. So, I think that when you look at that lineup and you just had it on the screen, it's still enough pop in there to get things done. I mean, you're talking about I think last year the Padres, they finished 7th in a position player and pitching F4, and then the 8th best run differential. They underperformed that by 10 games. I know all of this because I'm a Padre fan and I suffered through it all season long. 9-23 in 1-run games last year.
Wow.
2-12 in extra inning games. Can we get some regression to the mean? Positive regression after what we went through last year? I think no one is expecting anything from San Diego this season, and this is the type of team I feel like kind of embraces the underdog role to where they can outperform it instead of being expected to do well and win a World Series. Because when we talked about them coming into last year, it was like we said with the Dodgers, it's World Series or bust. That's how it was for the Padres last year, and they got nowhere near that. They never were even in first place in the division the entire season at any point. So I think the underdog role is back in San Diego. We get Machado back healthy, who was dealing with an injury all season. Bogarts was banged up throughout the season as well. He had a hot start and had some type of hand or shoulder injury, I want to say, and then kind of just fell off towards the rest of the year. Ha-Seong Kim was a bright spot. Tatis,
he was.
I love as well. I think me and Dream got the over. I want to say at 32.5, and it's now up to 34.5. So I love that.
Go.
Yeah, me and him talked about that. He stole it from me. Hope he sees this, and he gave it out first to our members. But yeah, I love Tatis' stolen bases too. They were at 27.5. I don't know what the total is now, but I took that. I thought it was too low. I like the 30-30 season, like you mentioned. I think he hits. He can hit 40. But I think he hits about 36 to 38 home runs and has about, probably 35 stolen bases or something like that.
That's why you guys are the GOATs, man, over at FTNBets.com. You mean you're sub with us. We're talking about it in the Discord channel. Still running the promo FTN Hoops for 35% off. Like you said, there's some futures already in the tracker, and we'll be giving some bets throughout the season as well. So make sure you follow _PropGod and myself, Chris Meaney, as well as MLB Dream. And I'll make sure that he does watch this video, stealing all the props. As for the lineup, I mean, you mentioned Kim. I think a lot of people are hesitant that he's, to draft him maybe in fantasy at pick 81 on average. I do see him fall a little bit in drafts because they maybe expect a little bit of regression. I mean, 306 BABIP is part of it, but also he's pretty speedy and he is in a good lineup. And it just comes to a point where if he falls to pick 100, all of a sudden he turns into a bit of a value, right? 17 homers, 38 stolen bases last year, 84 runs, 60 ribbies, third full season in the bigs. He's got 50 stolen bases over the last 2 years. I think he gets back 25 here. I don't think he tops 17 homers. He's got a high ground ball rate, but he can get 15. Maybe he does. Maybe he does creep up to 20. It's possible. I think 15 is something you can expect. Man, Xander, you're right, man. This guy was having a really good season last year. 19-19. He had the 19 stolen bases, which was a career high for him. The home runs are not a career high for him. He only topped 20 once since the 33 he had in 2019 with the Red Sox. That's an outlier campaign, but he does have 25 home run power. Great hitter, right? I mean, solid floor. I think ceiling's not super high in fantasy, but he's going to play second base this season, so he's going to get second base eligibility there. Only has the short on the board, but a 291 hitter for his career. As for Machado, this guy, again, he's one of my favorite players to watch. Manny Machado. I know he's had even his early days in Baltimore is always rooting for this guy, and he had a couple significant injuries, but 30 home runs last season for the 7th time in his career, 28 plus in 3 straight seasons, 270 average, 30 homers. So I think that's what you can expect. Flirt with 100 ribbies. He's 31 years old now. He's playing in the spring, deal with an elbow injury. He should be fine. Do you have any concerns with Musgrove at all? There seems to be some chatter in the Discord about him having a lot of innings over the past couple of years and maybe some injuries. Some of them have been fluky injuries, but there has been a dip in his Cape numbers in terms of percentage over the past couple of years: 33, 27, 25, and 24. Sub walks 2 per 9. Good command. I mean, the ratios are awesome too. 3.185, 3.18 ERA, 2.93, 3.05 last 3 years. XFIP was 3.5, so there wasn't really any difference in the ERA and XFIP. Only 97 innings last year, but back-to-back 180 plus. Is there any concerns as you talk about how you follow this team closely? He is going fairly early in drafts as we bring it up. I mean, pick 100 on average. He's the front man on this rotation, though.
I I wouldn't say I'm concerned about the innings or having any arm fatigue because we keep seeing alerts coming out with some of the star pitchers are arm fatigue. I think one just came out about Kevin Gausman today or this morning. I'm more concerned with how he's looked in spring training. He's been terrible.
Yeah, he hasn't been good.
He's got toasted in the first inning in both his starts against the Dodgers. Well, I mean, it's the Dodgers, okay,
Yeah,
but then the Guardians too.
Took him deep on one swing, but the Cleveland one was concerning.
I'm like, Cleveland, what's going on here? And you try not to put too much into spring training, but we know as baseball lovers, a guy who has a great spring training usually has a great season too. Look what Matt Olson did last year. He was blasting homers in spring training, and he led the majors in home runs in the regular season. Tatis had no hits in spring training until yesterday. He finally hit a home run. I was worried about that too. I try not to put too much into it, but I wouldn't be worried about his innings. I'm looking at spring training because I don't want any hiccups from this team. I'm a frustrated fan at this point, which is why I try not to bet on them too much either because I like them as a team.
Right. The unknown of Michael King is appealing to me. I think you're going to like this guy.
Me too.
Of course, he was involved in the Juan Soto deal. 6 saves for the Yankees last season, but reliever to starter. He made 9 starts in the second half for New York. Man, he's got dominant stuff. We've seen guys before, turn reliever into starter and have success. He's got 4 pitches, and I think that's why he can be a starter. 40 and 2/3 innings as a starter last year, 51 strikeouts. And some of these numbers, I know you're well aware of them, but he had some really good showings against some good teams, like 4 2/3 against the Red Sox, 8K. 5 innings against Milwaukee, maybe not the best team, and they do have a lot of swing and miss in their lineup, but he did have 9K. He had back-to-back starts against the Jays, one where he had 13 strikeouts over 7 innings. And in the 13 innings combined, and it's always tough to face a team like the same team 4 or 5 days later. He had definitely 13 innings against them, and he had 21 strikeouts in those 13 innings and just 1 earned run. So overall, he had 127 punchouts in 104 innings, 10K per 9, 2.7 walks per 9, 2.75 ERA, xFIP a touch higher. He's got a solid 11.5 swinging strike percentage for his career. I think I have a lot of shares already. And again, it's the unknown. I'm intrigued of what he could do with the starter, and maybe they cap it or they have a leash on him to start. But I think he's going to turn heads. He's going to be somebody that I know that I'm going to be betting on in the strikeout market. And I like at pick 143 on average. I mean, Yu Darvish as well. At pick 190, I know he's not the same Yu Darvish, but he can certainly return value at that price point as well. I'm in on King. I think you're gonna like him, man. I think he's gonna be a stud.
It's crazy you say that because I just texted our guy MLB Dream yesterday because King pitched yesterday, and I said I'm going to take his strikeouts. It was too low. I think it was at 2.0 or something like that, and I want to say he had 2 in the first inning. But yeah, so he cashed for me, and I'm excited because I was seeing him, in certain spots. When he pitched for the Yankees last year, because they're the Yankees, of course we're going to watch some games. So I do think he'll be a bright spot, and we asked him to be the number 3. So I'm in on him, and I like how Yu Darvish is looking in spring. Because he was up and down, I would say, last year, but he had more lows than highs. Right. And he's been very impressive in spring training, and like I just mentioned, I'm hoping he can bring that momentum into the regular season, especially with Joe Musgrove looking shaky. And Yu Darvish, I call him Yu Shiesty. I got a nickname for him. He's Shiesty.
Oh. Nice. I was just actually on the way out of here. I just wanted to look up the projections for Yu Darvish. I know we've shared a lot of the projections throughout these previews. We have him 161 innings, 161 strikeouts, so a strikeout per inning guy. Got him for a 4.04 ERA. It's not too bad, man. Like 1.21 WHIP. 72 earned runs over those 161 innings. And again, like just a strikeout per inning guy. Vlad's got him as a 9K per 9 and $5 on the auction value there. So a cheap little arm, depending on your format. as somebody who I don't think can turn the clock back, but spring is important, and it is important to follow some of these things. And like you said, maybe off to a good start. And it's not a pick that's going to cost you a whole lot. It's like a pick 200 there, and if he can stay healthy and get some run support, maybe he can return some value for you there as well. I forgot to do this. I do this with Dream prediction at the end of every video. We got the Dodgers at 1. Chance the Padres could be number 2 in this division for you?
Yeah, so I'm torn because I do like Arizona. I'm not going to be biased just because I'm a fan. So I'm going to go early prediction. I got the Dodgers 1, the Diamondbacks 2, the Padres 3, Giants 4, Rockies 10. Not even 5. Just
we were talking to the green room about the Rockies. I mean, maybe not a bad bet for them to have the most losses in Major League Baseball. It certainly is going to be another long season. If you're a Colorado
it'll be between them and the Athletics, I want to say.
Or maybe the Angels.
Yeah, them too. I heard rumors of them with Blake Snell, which if he goes there, what is it, just for the money at this point? I don't get it.
Yeah, I guess it probably would be, and it's Trout who's knocking on the door of Art Moreno every day saying, listen, can you spend some money, please? Spend some money, please?
Yeah.
Like, keep me around here. I want to play playoff baseball, but it's going to be tough for them to play playoff baseball because they haven't played in quite some time, and they lost a lot of dudes this year, including Shohei. PropGod, appreciate you, dude. _PropGod, at Chris Meaney. An amazing follow on Twitter, giving picks across a lot of sports, and you'll be covering a lot of baseball for us over at FTN. So get familiar with PropGod. Make sure you give him a follow, _PropGod. Check out the fantasy baseball kit over at ftnfantasy.com. Promo code Seeger5. Links inside the description of this video. It's been a blast. We wrapped up here with the Padres, but it does seem to be the Dodgers division to lose. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching. Cheers.